to this episode of Access AC Live. We're broadcasting from One Atlantic, which is a beautiful event center located over the boardwalk and the ocean in Atlantic City at the Pier Shop at Caesars. If you have any events that you would like to book here, feel free to definitely call One Atlantic Events. It's the only event center, like I said, here that overlooks the ocean, the boardwalk, the casinos, the people. It's just beautiful. On today's show, we have DJ Ahmed Khan, and he has been DJing for many years, not too many, but many years. And he knows about the DJ scene in Atlantic City, which is very popular right now, and he's very popular. So we're going to ask him some really great questions and hopefully give you some insight on the DJ world here in Atlantic City. Thank you for coming on the show, DJ Ahmed Khan.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us about your DJ experience and where you currently play in Atlantic City.
At this time, I'm DJing at the Chelsea Hotel on their 5th floor pool deck. It's called the C5 Cabana Club.
Yeah.
They're on Sunday nights.
Okay.
That's until Labor Day. I'm also at a lounge called the Lux Lounge, which is located inside of the Diving Horse, and I'm there on Thursday nights, and that lasts through Labor Day as well.
Okay, and your nights are primarily Euro themed?
Yeah, I started DJing many, many years ago when I was a student at Stockton College, and over the years I've played a pretty wide variety of music. But for about the past 10 years, I've focused more on the Euro house and electro house scene here in Atlantic City.
Now, is that your favorite style of music and that's why you focused on it, or did you think that it was just popular so you just focused on it?
I'm pretty proficient at a lot of the genres. I play hip hop, I play R&B, I play Spanish. Electro and tech house and house, though, I think it probably is my #1 passion. Okay,
because that seems to be very popular right now in Atlantic City. I see Euro night here, house night there. Why do you think that trend is happening?
I think a lot of students come in to work in Atlantic City, in Wildwood, in Cape May. They're in a program called the J1 program. It's like a visa status.
Okay.
So basically they're college students that come over to work for the summer. So I think a lot of nightclubs and other venues have seen an opportunity to try to get those students to come into their clubs to make money. And so it's been more of a marketing focus. I think the music has gotten much more popular. You'll notice that in radio and in TV, the videos, a lot of the hip hoppers, rappers are crossing over. R&B artists like Neo, Chris Brown, Usher. On any CD they release, you can bet that there'll be 1 or 2 tracks that are kind of this like Euro electro house feel. Yeah.
That's neat. I've noticed too that a lot of DJs, like Avicii, for example, he's a DJ, but now he has a song out. Now he's very popular. A lot of DJs are having and producing their own music. What's the trend with that?
Well, DJs have been remixing songs probably since the early 90s. Finally, the Grammys have offered a category of Best Remixer, and so often those are DJs. And so it's kind of increased the awareness. The DJs are kind of behind a lot of these remixes. When producers release songs on LPs and CDs, a lot of times they're more pop-oriented, they're more intended for radio play. So once the DJs get a hold of them, they're usually in touch with what's hot in the street. And so they include the elements of what's popular in the nightclubs. And so when they remix these songs, they write the record companies to get the acapellas, and then they lay down their own tracks underneath the acapellas, hence the remixes.
Cool.
You know, originally remixers were getting around $10,000 to remix songs for popular artists like Whitney Houston, Cher. Nowadays, remixers get somewhere in the neighborhood of $40,000 to $50,000 to remix a song. Because they know once it gets remixed, it's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
It's gonna be very, very popular. So
I know people have the mashups too. Is that the same thing as a remix?
it is a remix. A lot of the guys that are doing mashups aren't the Aviciis. They're not the Bob Sinclairs. A lot of the guys doing mashups are guys that have access to computer programs where they're able to cut and paste different pieces of songs together and create what they call the mashup. So. You know, as I've watched DJing evolve over the years, you know, the average disco song, for example, was a 7-minute track. They'd play it from the beginning, it would run all the way through to the end, and then the next song would come in and everybody would get really excited. Nowadays, the attention span of the average club goer is much, much shorter. So if you put a 7-minute song on now, it's not going to...
It's like boring. You're like, oh, come on, is it over? Right.
So the concept of the mashup provides, you know, short 45-second, minute-and-a-half pieces of music. It also provides a wide variety of different stuff. So you can take a rock and roll song now and kind of put it into a hip hop song.
That's true.
So,
yeah, Yeah, that is really cool. I love that idea. And I know what you're saying about, cutting the time down on the songs, because I even noticed, like, I'll be singing a song and then all of a sudden it gets cut off and then another song comes in to the mix there. But I think people like that. I think it's kind of popular.
I know you're celebrating a birthday pretty soon,
right.
so I don't know how old you are. It's not polite to ask that
Not
question.
telling my
But
age.
what I've noticed working the nightclubs for as long as I have is that people that are usually a little bit older, the club goers, don't like the mashups.
Right.
In fact, they either can't stand them. And the younger folks seem to really enjoy them much more. And so it actually breaks the crowd up a little bit. You don't get as many old heads, as we like to call them, going to the clubs where the younger people are partying.
Yeah, well, I think also because a lot of the clubs now have specific nights that are catered to that. Like they have 70s and 80s nights now, so people feel like they have a venue they can go to. They don't have to go to a night where it gets some 70s and 80s, but mostly 90s and top 40 hits, which is kind of cool because now we have that.
It's interesting you mentioned that. In Atlantic City, the casinos have really embraced the nightclub business, and they've kind of, I guess, been following Las Vegas as a lead for that. Up until about 10 years ago, there were only 2 or 3 major clubs in the city. Now there are probably 15 different hot clubs. Each one has a specialty night. Usually, they bill them as employee nights or industry nights. Dusk, for example, at Caesars is very popular on Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
The Mix nightclub at Borgata is popular on Sundays. The Chelsea is popular on Sundays, where I DJ. Monday nights at Murmur at Borgata is very popular.
Right.
Providence at Tropicana is popular on Thursday. So they've kind of carved out that niche. But as the market has gotten a little bit more broad, they've also included different genres.
Yeah.
So Boogie Nights was probably the first specialty club to open, which was strictly disco and 80s stuff. They moved away from resorts where they were originally housed and opened up at the Tropicana.
Right.
So resorts saw the popularity after Boogie Nights left, and so they kept going their own club as Night Fever. So now in Atlantic City, there are actually 2 clubs that specialize on like Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays on that genre of music.
That's so great. I love that, and I love that you know so much about the DJ scene and the nightlife scene here in Atlantic City. How can people get a hold of you if they want? Do you do private parties?
I do private parties. I can be contacted, my phone number or website.
Well, how about a website?
How about a website? Okay, www.djahmedkhan.com, AhmedKhan. That's my website.
Okay.
So that's a pretty good way to get in touch with me.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Ahmed.
Thank you, Whitney.
We appreciate it. We want to thank Ahmed Khan for being on the show today. Of course, you have his website, djahmedkhan.com. And we want to thank him for being on the show. Thank you for watching this episode of Access AC Live, broadcasting from One Atlantic Events in Atlantic City. I'm your host, Whitney Ullman. Until next time.